This meeting is for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Terry F will be sharing on the spiritual life is not a theory for 50 minutes. This is Terry's fourth time speaking at the Broken Elevator, and we are absolutely delighted to have him back with us here today. It has been a joy to see how you've grown over the past 3 years. Thank you for all the light you shine in Alcoholics Anonymous and being such a blessing to us all. We appreciate you and love you dearly. Please help me give a warm welcome to Terry from Yonkers, New York. His home group is the Bronx Big Book Study. Over to you, Terry.
Thank you so much, Mel, and I love you too. And Tamara, thank you so much for inviting me back for a fourth time. I'm trying to catch up with Peter M. I'm going to get him one day. My name is Terry. I'm an alcoholic, and it's an honor and privilege to be here. I get to share something that means a lot to me and means a lot to my soul and to my heart. I'm going to talk about a spiritual life is not a theory. And how I got that title was kind of funny. Well, looking back at my life, I've always hated my name. Ever since I was in kindergarten and the roll call would come out and everyone would say, Thierry, is Thierry here? All the way up to even Alcoholics Anonymous when I get introduced. Thierry is your speaker, blah, blah, blah. And then I met a gentleman, he's part of my home group, and one day he just came up to me, he's like, you know what? Spiritual life is not a theory. That's what I'm going to call you now. And I already grew to love my name earlier, but now I even love it even more. And I'm a huge advocate of living and being a demonstration of the words in this book. This book is just a theory unless we live it. And here's my experience with living it as well. And I want to get some credentials out of the way. I have a sobriety date, June 1st, 2019, and a miracle happened on that day, Kira, where the gift of desperation screamed louder than the obsession. I didn't quit. I was separated from alcohol. I have a home group. It's Bronx Big Book Study. We meet every single night. It's a line-by-line speaker. We get a different speaker every single night, and they share their experience on the text. And I love that because I used to give my opinions on experiences I never had to people. They share their experience. Right. I have a sponsor, and I also sponsor other guys. And honestly, I don't even like the word sponsor. In Chapter 7, Working with Others, it says when we approach an individual, they're a prospect, and then they become a candidate. Then they become a protege. A protege is someone that's very special to you. And then we become lifelong friends. And that's how I view the people that I work with. You know, it's not a hierarchy, me looking down at someone and me shouting from the spiritual mountaintop. We're walking shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, right? And I need these people in their life because they become my sponsors, right? Sometimes we fall into a trap. Someone says, hey, you know, God's my sponsor. Well, if God's your sponsor, then God has a fool for a sponsor. If I heard the word of God, my head would probably explode, or I'd be a saint. No, I need other people who are in a recovered state, who are conduits and messengers of God. Right? That's how I hear the voice of God. I hear it from everyone here, and I hang out with the people who I've become. Yeah. So I want to kind of take a step back for a second and really look about how to live the first step. And I wake up every single morning, and I got this from my friend John M. from Minnesota. He was a spiritual director out there, and he would tell me every single day, Terry, he does step 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and it says, "Good morning, Terry. You're an alcoholic. Pay attention. Pay attention. You know, remember who you are. Remember the pain. Remember why you stopped." And I go back to that pain. I remember why I'm here. Because I do have a built-in forgetter. My friend in Minnesota said I had a superpower. I forget how bad it was. And I remember that pain. And then I go to step 2, and I said, there is a God, it's not me. And I go to step 3, do the right thing right now. And I go into on awakening. Now, for a long time, I was under I had a lurking notion and a reservation in the back of my head. And when I came back from Minnesota to New York, I was riding a fifth step. That high that we get from there. Our fears fall from us. We feel delighted. Walking hand in hand on the broad highway of the spirit universe. Feels like the drinking problem was removed. The drinking problem was removed. I was no longer obsessing about it, right? But I had this lurking notion that I could possibly drink one day in the future if something bad happened. It was very small, but it was in the back of my head. And I went to this detox with a couple of guys. These are big book guys, by the way. And we carried the message to this place, and there were a bunch of drug addicts at this place. And I thought it was appropriate to tell my drug addict story. And I did combine it with the alcoholic one. And afterwards, I'm sitting down having dinner with these two guys, and the guy leans over. He's like, "Terry, you know what? I'm concerned you're not a real alcoholic." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like Bill's story is literally my story, right? Like ceased to be a luxury became a necessity. Bathtub of gin, oblivion. That's me. Hold on. The allergy, when I drink, I get thirsty or I want more. I mean, I went to 4 rehabs because of alcohol. Like, what are you talking about? And I caught that resentment. And afterwards, while I'm turning back, I said, you know what? Maybe he's right. That's what I said. I said, maybe he's right. A couple factors played into that. One, I stopped doing my step 9 amendments. I stopped doing the work, right? That's one thing. And I caught a resentment. And the last one is I had a lurking notion or a reservation that, yeah, I had an alcohol problem a long time ago. That was 16 years ago when I was in those rehabs. I'll tell you something about a lurking notion and a reservation. And one day you'll catch a resentment. You'll stub your toe on your door and you'll think drink solution, drink answer. That's how fast it will go. And that's what happened with me. I stopped doing the work. And what happened? The insane idea came back. The obsession came back. Because I had liquor in my home. And I was actually serving it, wine and liquor, to my friends. I couldn't even walk past it. I was waking up every single morning dreaming about it. Alcohol was whispering in my ear. I was fantasizing about it. It was calling my name, my love of my life. Come on. You know what was going through my head, Glenn? I'll tell you what was going through my head. Why don't you try some controlled drinking, Terry? Why don't you try some controlled drinking? You know how many times I said that per hour? This obsession is a singular thought, which is an irrational thought that crowds out all other thoughts. These strange mental blank spots. It's scary. What happened is I called my sponsor while I was driving, and I pulled over because I was about to make a left to go to a bar or make a right to go to a meeting. I called him up and I asked him, "Hey, this is what's happening. I'm thinking about drinking." He's like, "Did you make your amends?" I'm like, "Oh, how did you know I was not making my amends?" He's like, "Maybe you need to make your amends." And I'm sitting in my car and I remember just praying for the willingness to call this guy. And he was a friend of mine who was an enemy in my mind. And our step 9 tells us the unexpected will happen, right? Why 9 out of 10 times the unexpected will happen. And what's wrong with that? Nine out of the 10 times I'm thinking, what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. He's going to say this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go beat him up. All this was going through my head. This little narrative, this little mental anxiety, these little stories, these little thoughts. They're just thoughts. It's not reality. And I'm buying these lies. And I'm bulking on step 9 because of it. So what happened? I'm praying for the willingness to give this guy a call. I'm reminding myself I'm willing to go on any lengths for victory over alcohol, and I'm willing to go on any lengths for a spiritual experience. I'm just saying this over and over and over again in my head. And I'm trembling, just like Dr. Bob when he was trembling when he made his amends. And I accidentally called him. I'm like, oh, I got to pick up the phone now. And he picks up the phone. He's like, "Hey, Terry, where you been? I missed you and I love you." Right then and there, guys, I was rocking it right into the 4th dimension of existence I couldn't even dream. I found out the two most important dates in my life. It's not my sobriety date. My sobriety date just measures how much time I had. It was the day I was born and the day I found out why. And the day I found out why is to fit myself to be a maximum service to God, the people around us. I'm getting teary thinking about this because I remember that I was purposely trying to drink myself to death every single day. And I keep waking up and I'm like, God, why are you keeping me alive? Like, why? I don't want to be here anymore. That's why, to fit myself to be a maximum service to God and the people around me. Well, let's rock and roll with these amends now. I started to make all these different approaches. And all of a sudden, I remember about 2 weeks in, I was like, I'm not thinking about drinking. It's not whispering in my ear. I'm not fantasizing about it anymore. I'm not even dreaming about it. The obsession was removed, and guys, it's never come back. I was separated from alcohol. I suddenly realized, suddenly is a time frame. That means right here, right now. Realize that God did for me what I could never do for myself. I know there's a bunch of new people on here, and Ross, I see you, my friend. Don't keep coming back. Stay. Stay. Do what we do. It's not a program for people who want it. It's not a program for people who need it. It's not a program for people for any of those things. It's a program for people who do it. You do the work and God works on you, and that's my experience. That's how a relationship works. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. If you are new within the first year, this is my biggest recommendation to every single person in here. And if you got time, no problem. Still try this out. Do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do. I'm going to say that one more time. Do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do. I don't feel like going to a meeting. Go to a meeting. I don't feel like calling my sponsor. Call your sponsor. I don't feel like making those amends. Go make the amends. So what's happening during this process, and then it talks about in our third step, is that we're going to be reborn. And what does that mean? That means something's got to die. Death to self. The alcoholic ego is fighting for its life during this process. It goes against everything we've ever believed in. It goes against everything we've ever, emotions, our feelings. It goes against all our old ideas. It goes against everything. Do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do and watch your life change. Watch your life be transformed. You know, when I'm talking to a new guy, I know that I'm talking to the disease of alcoholism. I see it in their face. I can hear what it's saying. I'm talking to the condition. I know that's not them. Everyone in here has the great reality within you. God is within you. It says it on page 55. Deep down, every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. Where's the best place for God to hide from an alcoholic? Inside an alcoholic's heart. We ain't ever going to look there. I mean, I've talked about this multiple times. My son, he's 2 years old. He's not thinking the drive to success is on. I have arrived. How dark it is before the dawn. Cursing myself for being a weakling. No. He has a constant connection with the power greater than himself. That's what we're doing, everybody. We're going back home. We're going back home to the land of milk and honey. We're going back home to the fourth dimension. We're going back to the world of the spirit. And I've been rocketing into this fourth dimension of existence. What am I supposed to do here? I'm supposed to grow in effectiveness and understanding. I'm supposed to grow in the image and likeness of my creator. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. How am I supposed to grow in effectiveness? How well am I carrying out God's will? Every single person in this room is an expression of God's will. How am I being a demonstration of how it works? How am I being a demonstration of in the action? How am I being a demonstration of the family afterwards? How am I being a demonstration of a vision for you? How am I being a demonstration of there is a solution? How am I being a demonstration of a spiritual experience? How am I being a demonstration of a spiritual awakening? It's not about learning, it's about becoming this way of life. And step 10, I start to watch. There's a bunch of spiritual exercises, and I hope you guys brought your books to class because I'm going to use it. And it says in our 12 step, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of the steps, we try to carry this message. What message? The message of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says in our forwards to the second edition that the integrity of our message is contained in our literature. So, and the message can get diluted, but the fellowship, it's like me going to Joe and, hey, Joe, the common solution is a spiritual experience. And Joe tells Michael, and Michael tells Mel, Mel tells Babe, Babe goes and tells Sam, and Sam tells Roy, and then Roy comes back to me and tells me that the New York Jets won the Super Bowl, which I hope they do this year. All right? Bring your books to class. I'm going to show you guys a bunch of spiritual exercises that have changed my life. Step 10, page 84 of your book. So this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set any new mistakes as we go along. Keyword continue. Guys, I got great news. I got bad news. And I got good news. Good news, it works. The program works, everyone. Bad news, you got to do it for the rest of your life. Great news is your life becomes indescribably wonderful when you do it. You do the work, God works on you. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. And we're looking for new mistakes. This is not looking at the lenses of guilt, shame, and remorse. I'm looking at mistakes as invitations to lessons learned. And what I'm doing is I'm watching. I've been rocketed into this fourth dimension. What am I supposed to do here, right? I'm supposed to grow. I'm supposed to grow. Not look at this stuff with guilt, shame, and remorse. And have I entered this world of the spirit? How do I know if I've entered the world of the spirit? Does anyone know? Am I experiencing and I identifying with the 9-step promises? Am I going to know new freedom and a new happiness? Self-seeking will slip away. I suddenly realized that God did for me what I could never do for myself. But these extravagant promises, if you guys are experiencing and relating to those promises, you have entered the world of the spirit, the land of milk and honey. We are now operating here. We are operating right here, right now, from moment to moment to moment to moment to moment basis. A lot of people get confused with the 11-step inventory, the 10-step inventory, the 11-step review, and the 10-step inventory. Let me clear it. 11-step is at morning and at night. And then when I walk out the door and I open up that door, it's game on, baby. That's step 10. All right? Let's rock and roll. I'm operating right here, right now, in every breath that I go. And I start to become a watcher. That's our first spiritual exercise, to watch, right? I get to watch. You're watching for the manifestations of self, the conditions of self, right? Our altered self. We're watching for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear, right? The big four. And I'm watching for this. Try to put that on a note card or try that out for an entire day and just watch. Watch. I think we were talking about zooming and driving and how I was the best drunk driver too. You guys ever drink and drive? I know I did. We're watching, right? Where the cops? Rear view mirror. All right, side view mirror. I watch. You start to watch all this stuff. You start to notice patterns throughout your day. You start to notice collisions. Guys, I've been in a car accident, right? When someone, I have disturbances. Whenever there's a disturbance, that means I'm disturbable. Whenever I'm upset, it's because I'm upsettable. Whenever I'm offended, it's because I'm offendable. There's something wrong with my belief systems or my old ideas, particularly when it comes to work or here or whatever it is. And I watch that. I see where it crops up. That means that there's selfishness and self-centeredness intact. I got to write some inventory because I can't see it because it's coming from up here. Second spiritual exercise is to ask. I'm going to ask God to remove this at once. I'm living steps 6 and 7 right here, right now. Right? Ask. Try that. Today, what is today? Friday? So today, for the rest of the day, watch. Tomorrow, Saturday. Try asking. You're going to pray all day. Pray to God all day. Use all the prayers that you learned. God, please remove my fear and direct my attention where you have me be. Serenity prayer. Sick man prayer. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Ask. Anyone been in New York City? Anyone raise your hand? I can't see everyone. I'm on an iPad. Yeah, there I got Roy, right? Roy, you've been in New York City, right? You've been in the subway system, right? You guys ever see those Those homeless people that have schizophrenia and they're talking to themselves all day. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to be talking all day, talking to God. ask, talk to God all day. This is all getting me to operate in the world of the spirit right here, right now. I'm developing what is a vital sixth sense, what is called God consciousness, which is all part of all my senses, sight, touch, feeling, all that. God is now the centerpiece of my life. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. Third spiritual exercise, discuss. Right? I'm going to go talk to a bunch of people who are in a recovered state. Go talk to these people. What's going on with me? Right? Hey, babe, how's it going? I'm dealing with something with my wife. I can't get over it. I got this resentment to her. Well, did you ever do that to her? Then why are you angry at her for the same thing that you're angry at her for? Shut up, Terry. Go pray about it. Right? Okay, babe. Thanks, babe. Right? Just discuss. That's my least favorite thing to do in the 10 step is discuss. I'm living step 5. What's the point of do the steps? To live them. So I'm living the 5th step by doing this right here, right now. Because why? Because I have this little narrative in it. I will talk to myself. It will create a story. Talks about it on page 64. Being convinced that self manifested in various ways is what defeated us. Self and us are 2 different things. Self is that narrative in our head, the little minion in our head. It feeds us BS, talks to us in our own voice, and I believe it. And I buy those lies. And what happens when I buy them, I go play God. And what happens when I play God, I step on your toes. What happens when I step on your toes, you retaliate. What happens when you retaliate, I get angry. And when I get angry, I get shut off from the sunlight and the spirit. And I say, how dare you? And then I'll go into self-pity and I'll think, drink solution, drink answer. That's the deal, guys. How am I operating right here, right now? 4 spiritual exercise, amends. That's our 4th spiritual exercise. Try that. What was it? So we're on Sunday or Monday now. Try making amends all throughout the day. 5th spiritual exercise. Tuesday. Turn my thoughts to someone I can help. What about those other alcoholics? What about those my family members? How's my brother doing that? He lives in Hawaii now. I haven't talked to him in a little while. Let's check out him. God gave me the power to turn my thoughts to someone I could help. We were just reading about it on page 132. Why shouldn't we laugh? I have recovered, and I've been given the power to help others. I've had an acquisition of power today. God has used me as a vessel to help other people. Remember, I was crying, begging God, why are you keeping me alive? I'm here to fit myself to be a maximum service to God and the people around me. Turn all day. Try that. You won't be thinking about yourself. Love and tolerance of others is our code. Try practicing that all throughout the day. What are we on Wednesday now? Right? Love and tolerance. Watch yourself start loving people who are unlovable. You start loving every single one of God's children. God doesn't have any grandchildren here, so we're all brothers and sisters. And if I start to look at you as equals, I start to become free. I start to see you as an expression of God's will. I start to love you for who you are, no matter what your defects are, no matter what your shortcomings are, and no matter how low you went. Guys, for a long time, I was worshiping the menu of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I was not worshiping the meal. You guys ever try eating a menu at a diner? Doesn't taste really good. Try living the words out of this book. The spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. 6th spiritual exercise, cease fighting anything or anyone, including alcohol. And it also means including ourselves. Try practicing that. What are we on, Wednesday or Thursday? Try practicing cease fighting. I remember I was doing the dishes, and I hate doing the dishes, guys. I'm restless, irritable, and discontent when I'm doing the dishes. I don't know why. And I remember my wife was just arguing with me about something, and I was practicing cease fighting all day, and I was just like, cease fighting. And I didn't argue back with him. I was in a place of neutrality, safe and protected. I was not reacting to life the way I used to. That is what is called a spiritual experience. Looking at life with a different pair of glasses, operating in the land of milk and honey. Our next spiritual exercise is a place of neutrality. This is on the top of page 85, about 6 lines down. We feel as though we've been in a place of neutrality, safe and protected. It's called clocks and watches. Don't look at a clock or a watch for 6 to 12 hours. Oh, man. And live a completely God-directed life. We'll see how spiritually fit you are. Watch yourself get to places without you using a watch or looking for a watch. Watch you just show up to places without it. Live a completely God-directed life. I want to talk about step 2 a little bit and how to live step 2. And on page 47, go to your book. Hope you brought your books to class yet again. It does say carry this message. So whenever you go to a meeting, you carry the book with you. You don't have to thump people with it like Dave does. Page 47. I remember I was talking to some guy about this, and he's like, yeah, I'm working step 2. And I'm like, how are you doing that? Step 2 is an experiential step, and there's a question that's on page 47. In the middle of the page, it says, we needed to ask ourselves but one short question. Do I now believe, which is for the agnostic, or am I even willing to believe, which is for the atheist, that there is a power greater than myself? All right, I'm going to ask everyone in this room. Does anyone believe? Raise your hand. Is anyone even willing to believe? Raise your hand. Okay, congratulations. You just completed step 2. Woo, pew, 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 pew. You don't even have to believe. You just have to be willing to believe that maybe there's something out there. Possibly there's something out there. That's why I'm a huge advocate of the lay aside prayer. Huge advocate. God, please help me lay aside everything I think I know, ... so I may have an open mind and new experience with ... Amen. Why am I using that prayer? Because I think I know everything. That's what my mind, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and end of all, I think I know everything. Check this out. When you guys drank, Michael, when you drank, did you become the drink? Right? I took the drink took me, right? When you do this, a prayer, and a sincere prayer, everybody, you become the prayer. It's not about learning, it's about becoming this way of life. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. I remember I was asked that question in the beginning of recovery. Do you believe? Terry's like, no, back up, bro. Don't ask me that question. I don't believe in God. Get out of here. Gave him the barking sound. And he's like, well, Terry, are you even willing to believe that there's a power in yourself? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I don't believe in me. I don't even trust me if I walk out that door. And he said, Terry, you're on your way. Right? And here's a spiritual exercise for everybody in this room. Yet again, the spiritual life is not a theory. We have to live it. All right. I'm going to add something to the end of this sentence. Terry, do I believe, or am I even willing to believe that there is a power greater than myself that could take me to a new level of freedom? How free do I want to be is the question. What happens is, resentment was the number one offender for. And this book was written when someone had 4 years sober, right? Talking to a lot of people and, long timers or whatever, and they'll tell you right up there is complacency. There's going to be a point in your sobriety where you hit a ceiling, or you have a character defect that you let. I was listening to Sandy Beach talk about. I got a hot air balloon, right? And you take a weight off and you throw it off, and the air goes off, and you have a better view of the world or whatever. Right? And I'm chilling up there for 5 years and I'm bored now. So I throw some more weight off and I go up further. Now I'm up there for the next 10 years and now I'm bored. It's not fun up here. Keep throwing it. How far do I want to go? How free do I want to be? Because what happens is I'm agnostically inclined. That's what happens. I mean, look at fear. Anyone suffer from fear? Right? When I'm watching all the time, it's funny when you start watching yourself all the time. I've actually watched myself being driven. And I was like, whoa. Like, am I being driven right now? Right? Like Mark Houston talked about stepping into a cab. The cab driver looks back. I'm asleep, walking around thinking I'm awake, right? I look back, cab driver's like, my name's Fear. Where'd you like to go today? Fear drives my butt all throughout the day, right? I'm looking at this agnostic temperament. Whenever I have fear, it's because I have an agnostic temperament, meaning I believe there's a God, but it won't work for me, and I won't live like there is a God in my life. That's what happens. I'm making a conscious decision to rely on myself, right? It actually says fear ought to be classed with stealing, right? What does that mean? This book was not written for kleptomaniacs. This book was written for alcoholics. So whenever I'm in fear, I make a conscious decision, an awareness decision to rely on this right up here, the Alpha, the Omega, and the beginning and end of all, the God of reason, my mind. That's why I mentioned earlier, do the opposite of whatever you don't want to do. Because I think I know what's good for me. You know, in AA, I learned very skillful means of control. I try to manage the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm going to go to a meeting and feel better, or I'm going to write some inventory, get free, or go make these amends and get these trophy 9-step promises. My boy Babe talked about that, right? It's about becoming everybody, becoming this way of life. How free do I want to be? Go to page 53. Next spiritual exercise that you guys could practice. Middle of the page. When we became alcoholics, when did I become an alcoholic? Well, I lost the power to choose whether I'm going to drink or not. Right? I'm drinking against my will. When I drink, I get thirstier. I set off the phenomenon of craving. Crushed by self-imposed crisis. That word self, the little minion up here, feeding us lies, talking to us in our own voice, a mental narrative, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, self-imposed crisis. I did it to me. I could not postpone or evade. I had to fearlessly face the proposition that God is everything or else he is nothing. He either is or he isn't. What is your choice to be? God is everything in my life. When I got out of rehab, guys, I had nothing. What was my choice to be? God is everything. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. And yet again, when I made that conscious decision to rely on God, my life has become indescribably wonderful. When I make a conscious decision to rely on me, it's been rocky. It's like swimming upstream. I'm getting hit by branches and people coming down on floaties and rafts. It hurts, right? I'm all bloodied up. It's a lot smoother. It's serene. You know, God can't be explained, but he can be experienced. That's what's happening, right? So here's our next spiritual exercise for everybody in here. So if God is everything, that also means he's into nothing. So go find God or go seek God in everything you do, right? Become a seeker, right? Go find God while you're driving. Go seek God while you're at school. Go seek God while you're on Zoom. Go find God while you're at work. Go find God while you're talking to someone who you are talking to the disease of alcoholism and they got like an hour sober. Go find them there. Go find them and watch them show up. And ask yourself, how is he teaching me? What is he teaching me? What is he doing for me? What is he showing me? I'll say that one more time. How is he teaching me? What is he doing for me? What is he showing to me? What is he saying to me? What we're doing right now is we're living right here, right now, becoming a seeker. Sandy Beach talked about this. You know, like, you guys ever play hide and seek when you're a kid? Right? Go look for your friend. You can't find them. I give up. That's a level of seeking. Lose your puppy or lose your cat in the woods. You're looking everywhere for your puppy or cat, right? Even look, 1 month later, you're posting up signs everywhere in the woods. Different level of seeking. I don't know about you guys, but I was a 24/7 drunk. I chased that bottle. Different level of seeking. Imagine putting that effort towards finding or seeking a power greater than yourself. God could and would if he were sought. We say it every single meeting, like we love it, but do we actually do it? Spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. Third step. My favorite thing to do with the third step is kind of a snapshot thing, right? And do the right thing right now. Try practicing that all throughout the day. Do the right thing right now. Do the right thing right now. Do the right thing right now. Because life is all about a bunch of choices, a bunch of decisions, where I can make a conscious decision to rely on me, or a conscious decision to go into the unknown, which is scary because I've never seen it. I want to know what's up. Do the right thing right now. And also another spiritual exercise on page 60 of your big book. Jump over there. It says, the bottom of the page, last paragraph, says the first requirement is that I be convinced that any life, any part of your life, your AA way of life, your family life, your work life, every single part of your life run on self-will could hardly be a success. Here's a little exercise for everybody here. Go to 2 to 3 people who you've given spiritual consent to post you up on your BS that will hold you accountable, and ask them, how do you see me running my life on self-will and shush up? I was good on my language, Mel and Tamara. Spiritual life is not a theory. I need God's help with my language sometimes. Or if they're a non-alcoholic, go to that non-alcoholic who you've given consent to and ask them, do you think I'm authentic? And you shush up and you listen. And they'll tell you how you run the show. They tell you how you're the victim of the delusion that you can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if you only manage well. They'll show you that how you're a self-seeker even when you're trying to be kind. They'll show you different stage characters in your life, like Mr. AA or Mr. Convention Speaker who want to be loved. And where's my applause? Where's my applause at, everybody? And why I'm constantly hurt, threatened, or interfered with. Because the ego gets spiritual really quick, everybody. Let's say that one more time. The ego gets really spiritual really quick. What about sponsoring people? What's up with that? They're not doing what I'm telling them to do. Do you want what I have? Do what I do. And I'm the one who's disturbed all the time and agitated all the time, offended all the time. Because what? It's not going my way. Who am I? I'm not God. I have to constantly get off stage and do the right thing right now. I'm a huge advocate of going through the steps multiple times, maybe once a year, twice a year, depends on how cuckoo you are. Right? I'll tell you right now, guys, the spiritual experience has an expiration date. Right? I have to grow and maintain the spiritual experience. I can't live off the spiritual experience I had 4 years ago. It's like I can't live off the ham sandwich I had 2 days ago. I can't stay clean off the shower I took 2 days ago. I have to grow and maintain it. In step 4, it says a business which takes no regular inventory usually goes broke. So I have to constantly write inventory and go through the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous to have a death to self, to be reborn again, because the alcoholic ego will restore itself. It has amazing recuperative powers. I mean, I think I said this last time I spoke here, right? And you guys ever hear that? My disease is out there doing push-ups. You guys ever hear that, right? That's got a lot of validity to it. It's more like my disease is in the other room taking acting classes, looking to make a comeback, right? Here I am, right? How do I live this step 5? And again, I talked about discussing, and the more that you're honest, if you're just honest with one person in your entire life, in AA or anything, whatever, you're going to have a release. You're going to have a change of heart. You're going to have a spiritual experience. But how free do I want to be? Remember? Do I believe, or am I even willing to believe that there is a power in myself that can take me to a new level of freedom? I recommend everyone to try to do a fifth step with multiple people. It says in our book, persons or persons means multiple people. I have done this with my sponsor. I've done it with my sponsees. I've done it with random people who I've never worked with before, right? And all of a sudden I start to become, I can't even explain the word. I could hold my head up high. I could interact with you. I could look you in the eye. I'm not holding a burden. I'm not holding nuclear waste on my back. I'm free. And when I receive a fifth step, which is another wonderful thing, I mean, what an honor. I'm doing it. Someone asked me who I've never met before, just to do his fifth step tomorrow. I'm like, sure, I'll listen to it. It would be an honor to listen to it. And I know this person's fighting for their life. I remember I was talking to someone about this, and I'm like, because we go through Bill's story from pages 1 to 8. You see, how do I think like Bill, drink like Bill, and feel like Bill? Because I'm not reading Bill's story to learn about Billy. I'm learning Billy's story to learn about me. Am I the real alcoholic? And then pages 8 through 16 is the program of recovery that he did. Am I willing to do that? And I go through page 13 or everything that else, and there's things that ask you, are you willing to do this? Yes, no, or maybe. And then we check it off if we say maybe or no. And if it is a no, I pray for the willingness to do this step. And I remember asking someone, like, what happens if there's a Grand Prix and you got to listen, championship or Super Bowl Sunday, and you got to listen to a fifth step? Are you going to do it? Yeah, then put a maybe next to that. Right? Am I willing to get uncomfortable? If you're not, let's just say this. If you're not being inconvenienced, you're not doing 12-step work. I'd say that one more time. If you're not inconvenienced, you're not doing 12-step work. And I try to live this step 5, being a closed mouth individual. I don't hold secrets, like my boy Babe says. I don't hold secrets, but I know a lot of secrets from other people, right? I could keep the confidence of other people, right? Page 18 talks about I'm not holier than thou, or where. Let's go to 18. I don't know why I'm jumping to 18. This is how you should show up as a sponsor, everybody, or how I should show up to the fellowship as well. But the ex-prom drinker who has found the solution is properly armed with the facts, the medical facts, and also took the steps. And it could generally win the confidence of another person in a few hours. Until such an understanding, little could be reached or nothing could be accomplished. It is making the approach has the same difficulty. I have the same problem mishap. I can have the same pull, right? I could shout the solution all day. God, God, God. But why on earth does anyone want what I have if I don't share the same problem, right? I have to have the same difficulty with this person, that my whole deportment means my body language, shouts out at the new prospect that I have a real answer, that God is, that I have no holier than thou attitude, right? There's no access to pay, no people to please. I'm not getting paid to do this right now, even though Tamara, maybe you should pay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing this for fun and for free. Why? Because someone else did it for fun and for free to me. Guys ever get choked up with so much gratitude? Just chokes you. I got to give it away. And when I give it away, I get. I don't know where I was going with that. I need a sip of water and a break. Spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. I guess let's talk about 12. I mean, I got 7 minutes left. My job is to cheer people up. My job is to say pew, 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 pew. My job is to be there for people and make them laugh. Our book says we absolutely insist on enjoying life. It says it on page 132. They never noticed that Bill likes to say some really important stuff in the middle of every single page. Look at that sentence on page 132. Go to your book. It's 132. 132. Where are we at? We absolutely insist on enjoying life. There's 2 words to the right of it, 2 words to the left of it. There's 16 sentences above it, and 16 sentences below. It's right stab dead in the middle of that page. That's a demonstration. Am I showing that I absolutely insist on enjoying life? Yes, I do. Heck yeah, I do. I'm a miraculous demonstration of the power of God in one's life. I believe in miracles because I am a miracle. I say this again, it's not about learning, it's about becoming. Be. I've been looking at the words be all throughout the book. Like the fear prayer, God, please remove my fear and direct my attention to what you would have me be. Be what? Be a father. Be present. Be a listener. Be happy, joyous, and free. Fit myself to be a maximum service to God and the people around me. Be a messenger of hope. I could keep going on and on. I remember I was driving one day and I was just going crazy in my mind thinking about work. I deliver pizzas. I used to manage health clubs and operate sales teams. I had blah, 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 all this. And I'm delivering pizzas now. And I'm like, what am I going to do about work? No one's hiring right now. I don't care about money anymore. I just want some type of stable job. This is what's going in my head over and over again. And I'm in the fear, that anxiety, that mental anxiety. And the fear prayer hit me and said, God, please remove my fear and direct my attention where have me be. And you know what it said? Be a driver because you're driving right now. It's like, because I started swerving a little bit. It's not about learning. It's about becoming. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. It says it on page 45, lack of power. That is my dilemma. I had to find a power by which I could live. And it had to be a power greater than myself. And that's what this book is all about. It's all about enabling you. This book is an enabler. It will enable you to find a power which will solve your problem. What problem? Name one. Just name one. The main problem is lack of power. On page 85, it says the problem's been removed. What problem is that? Lack of power. Today, I've had an acquisition of power today. This book is not the treasure, it's a map. It's a map to that power which will help you live and live happy. When I fit myself into AA, it works. When I fit AA into my life, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. I need a power by which I can live. Page 70. I got 3 minutes left. I've been really practicing this a lot lately. I know I have a lot more things I could talk about with step 11, but it doesn't matter. We could do a 2-parter if you guys want me back. I'm trying to catch Peter, guys. I'm slowing it down. I didn't even get to the word let. Let God demonstrate. Look at all the words in the big book that say let. Let God demonstrate through me what he could do. I said that right before I spoke today. I don't have any fear today because God is within me. God is speaking through me to you guys. Just get out of the way, God. Work your magic. That's what this program is all about. Heart to heart, language of the heart. Let go, absolutely. Try practicing that out all throughout the day. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. Do not let any prejudice deter you from honestly asking yourself what these spiritual terms mean to you. Take all the words in the big book, creative intelligence, spirit of the universe, supreme being, put it on a piece of paper, lay aside prejudice, ask yourself what it means to you. It's funny when me and Babe talk about, it's not like we're building a God, but when we think we're building a God, God is building us. Let. Page 70. To sum up about sex. Oh man, I wish I had another hour for that. Damn. Dang it. Oh, I said damn. Is that a curse word? I'm not going to get booted off. Okay. Dang it. Okay. To sum up about sex, which is relationships. We're looking at our conduct in relationships, how selfishness acts out in our conduct. So I'm going to give you guys a thing about sex before I get into this paragraph. A lot of us go to way extremes about it, right? We're looking at our conduct in relationships, right? We're looking at how selfishness and inconsideration acts out. So think about this. If you're insane, you get put into an insane asylum because you act insane. Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? And then you get let go from that insane asylum because you act sane. You act regular, right? So we're looking at our selfishness and our inconsideration and how we act on it in relationships. It doesn't have to be sexual. To sum up about sex, here's a spiritual exercise for everybody in this room. There's 4. We earnestly pray for the right ideal. What are my ideals? To be kind, considerate, patient. I like a good question to ask people. If you had a daughter and your daughter was going to date somebody, what are the type of qualities in that person you want that person to have? I want them to be romantic. I want to be caring. I want to be gentle. So those are that right ideal that I'm going to bring into meditation every single morning and ask God to help me strive to be. Remember, becoming. The spiritual life is not a theory. I have to live it. If I want to grow somewhere, I'm going to have to start backwards and move forward with what? With God's help. Look at the St. Francis prayer. It starts with all our defects and goes to the opposite, right? Where there's wrong, forgiveness. Be a channel of thy peace. Where there's hatred, may I bring love. I need God's help to be changed and be transformed. Does that make sense to everyone? So I'm going to pray for the right ideal every single day. Become the prayer. For guidance in each questionable situation. I love this one. This is my favorite one I've been working with. And remember, I talked about this. Our whole life is a bunch of choices, right? I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'm mixed up about pizza. I'm going to have chicken. Pizza or chicken. This is a questionable situation. So what am I doing? God, come on in, God. God, what should I do in this questionable situation? Take a step back, possibly hear something, possibly don't. Okay, I hear chicken. Let's go chicken. Questionable situation. Bring God into it. All of a sudden, you're making God the central fact of your life. He's part of every fiber of your being. He is God consciousness. He is the essence of a spiritual experience. That's what we're doing here, which will separate us from alcohol. Think about this. Where is the insane thought? Talks about it more about alcohol. Jim's story, Fred's story, carpet slipper dude. Suddenly, the thought crossed my mind that I would put an ounce of whiskey in milk in my whiskey, right? It wouldn't hurt me on a full stomach. The insane idea happened right here, right now. And he took action and made a decision on that. In between that insane idea and that thought or that action is a very small space, everyone, but occupies a very, very large God. And that's what we're doing. We're building a relationship with that God, which will separate us from alcohol. I didn't quit. I was separated. That makes sense, everyone? That's how I stay in fit spiritual condition today. That's what my deal today, guys. Why do I have to do what I have to do? Why do I do this? Because it comes down to 2 options. Either do the work, Terry, or drink again. That's my experience. I'm going to pray for sanity, soundness of mind. I'm going to pray for the strength and do the right thing. I have 28 seconds. Okay. I don't want to go over. I just want to say that this stuff means the world to me, guys. It says transformed my life. You're not looking at the same person who is 4 years ago. You wouldn't recognize me. I was an unlovely creature. I was a tornado roaring through the lives of other people. Right? I was a victim of delusions and illusions. And guys, God transformed me. He transformed me into a father, into a husband who shows up, into a friend, into someone who owns a business, who takes care of their employees. I'm an employee as well, who listens to their boss, doesn't talk back to their boss, who shows up for work, who gives their boss ample time if he needs off, into a man of forgiveness, a man of faith, and guys, most importantly, a messenger of hope. My name is Terry. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I love every single person in this room. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I put my number in the chat. Hit me up if you want to chat it up. I love talking about this stuff. And last but not least, pew, 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 pew.